Hey y'all, hey, I'm back. It's me, and welcome to another edition of Hump Day Wednesday. I'm back in the house, and I have a couple of few things I want to chat with you guys about. First being the epilogue from the Spence Ugas fight. This fight happened on April 16th. It is April 26th. I believe we're 10 days removed from the fight, and it is still a buzz surrounding the events of the fight, the actual fight itself. It was that memorable, that legendary, and the epilogue that All Access did after the fight. First of all, the lead up to the fight, the All Accesses were really, really good. But I believe this epilogue, showing us what happened immediately after the fight, was probably one of the best I've ever seen. Captured a lot of vulnerable moments from both athletes, but what really stood out for me was the moment in the ambulance, and this is a spoiler alert for any of you who have not seen it yet. Please go watch it. But they showed Ugas, and Ugas was beat up really, really bad, like brutally, savagely beat up in this fight. Lasted 10 rounds. Eventually, the corner, not his corner, they should have stopped it, but eventually the doctor in the ring had to stop the fight because his eye was completely closed shut and was leaking blood. Like he was bleeding out of his eye. So the fight was stopped, and they show footage immediately after the fight with both men walking back to their dressing rooms. And the first thing that came to my mind is this old quote from a commercial back in the 80s, it may have been early 90s, from ABC. And because ABC used to do all the sports stuff, you know, a lot of sports stuff, and they still do. But there was a commercial that used to say, "The thrill of victory and the agony of defeat." And that's really what this epilogue was all about. It showed you the thrill, you know, that Errol Spence had in winning. And then it showed you the raw and uncut and unfiltered feeling of defeat that Yordenis Ugas had in his locker room. And side note, because I give Charlos a lot of flack, but I do want to commend Jamal Charlo and what he did and the words that he said to Ugas on his way to his dressing room. I thought that was so awesome. Such a stand up move for him to make those comments to him, especially since we all know he was rooting for Errol Spence to win. But boxer to boxer, he gave him some really good words of encouragement. He tilted his chin up, told him to hold his head up high, and I was really I don't want to say impressed, but I just thought that that was very thoughtful of him to do. That was really nice of him to do. He didn't have to, but as a boxer, I'm sure he understands, you know, the psyche when you get, you know, beat like that, because he was brutally beat up. So kudos to Jamal Charlo for his words. They were caught on camera, so that's why I'm giving him a special kudos. I don't know if anybody else or his brother said anything else to Ugas, but I just thought that was really a nice moment that they captured with him giving him encouraging words. Also with his woman, Ugas's woman, gave him really encouraging words, and she had a really good she kept her composure in the moment. You know, she is his woman, and you know, she's supposed to be expected to hold him down. But what I'm saying is, when you see your person look like he was looking, it can be very difficult to hold your composure and not just break down and cry too, because of what he looks like visually. Visually, he was a beat man. You know, he was physically, but you know, for her to give him the words of encouragement that she gave him, I thought that was beautiful, and I loved that they captured it and they showed it on camera. But baby, when I tell you my heart was broken, I had to grab me some tissue. When that grown man sat up in that ambulance, and it looks like he was just going through what happened in the fight, and I guess it just dawned on him, because he was in pain, and he had lost the belt that he covered so much, that he loved so much. He sat up in the ambulance, and he just started crying. He just broke down and cried and shed tears, and I cried right along with him. As hard as I am, I don't cry like that, but baby, that did something to me. Anyway, if y'all haven't seen the epilogue, go see it. On the flip side of his agony, Errol Spence was in his locker room, and it was a completely different mood. He was in there talking about put him in the dirt, which is what he was trying to do. Baby, he had his family in his locker room. He had Michael Irvin in there acting a damn fool. It was a great scene. It was completely contrasting feelings, but Showtime did a great job in capturing them both. Shout out to both fighters. Excellent fight. So much so that we're still talking about it 10 days later. We have another fight on the horizon this weekend that can possibly trump it. But for right now, that was a brilliant, brilliant performance by an Errol Spence coming off of a horrific car wreck and then eye surgery. So kudos to him. And yes, we are all sitting patiently, and some of us are impatiently waiting on the release date for Crawford versus Spence. Anyway, so I'm going to jump over to the NBA because, baby, these NBA playoffs have been something good. So listen, first of all, let me just say, I feel like I'm watching the changing of the guard just a little bit. Just a little bit. Because LeBron isn't in the playoffs this year. KD and Kyrie behinds got swept in the first round. Who knew? Who saw that coming? I didn't. I'm not going to even lie to y'all. I thought they would at least get out the first round. But baby, when I tell you the Celtics are not playing with them. Okay. Smart put the clamp down on Durant. And that was all she wrote. Listen, which series... The series that has my full attention, the one that's most exciting, the one that's most fun to watch, though, is the Minnesota-Memphis Grizzlies series. Listen, these two young brothers, Ja Morant and Karl Anthony Towns, they are going back and forth. I am really intrigued because the NBA is really good for this. They pick up on side storylines. And the side storyline in this series is that the two dads of both of the major players on each team have been going back and forth. Now, it is a playful yet competitive banter against both of them, but I love it. I love to see it. And I love that they're putting it on display because, one, it shows that these brothers are not the typical story. Both of these men have their fathers, their black fathers in their lives. And it shows that these two black grown men can have a back and forth about their sons, be dead ass serious, be very combative, be very competitive, but still love and embrace each other as men because they have them sitting courtside side by side. So I love it because it just paints a different picture of the way they depict black men and the absence of black men, as if we have nobody in the NBA who actually has their dad with them. You know, I hate that narrative. So I love to see that they're showing these two young men, first of all, balling out. Secondly, they have their fathers there. Thirdly, their fathers are actually in the arena talking noise, talking shit to each other, and nobody's afraid that a fight might break out. You know, this is typical behavior for black men. Get used to it. This is how they act. This is how real men react. They can go back and forth. They can talk their shit, and they can still have respect for each other at the end of the day. So kudos to the NBA for putting that image out there and in the forefront. I love it. Also, woo woo to my Dallas Mavericks, cause baby, this Utah Jazz team, is it the Jazz? Yeah, the Jazz. Yeah, looks like they're about to be going home. Hopefully they'll be going home. I don't want to speak too soon and jinx my Mavericks, but Luka is back, and baby, at one point last night they had like almost a 30-point lead. Okay, Mavericks. Okay. Also, there are a lot of closeout games that are happening either today or tomorrow. Milwaukee can close out. Dallas can close out. The other good matchup, and this is why I say I feel like it's a changing of the guard, because the Celtics team is a young team. The Minnesota team is a young team. They have Pat Bev. He's kind of a veteran, but they still have a young team. But also, the Grizzlies are a young team. But then there's the Phoenix Suns. Mavericks also a young team. But there's the Phoenix Suns. And the Phoenix Suns have a mixture. They have a pretty young team, but they still have old head Chris Paul. And Chris Paul has never won a ring. And I know he would love more than anything in the world to win a ring. Only thing is his young gun Devin Booker can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy, and I don't know if Chris is going to be able to do it by himself. Because these Pelicans are not playing, okay? And the Pelicans also are a young team. I love Russell. But you know what? Do you know how much better they could be if Zion fat ass was healthy and in shape and on the floor? I don't know what it's going to take for Zion to get his shit together, but man, I get upset every time I see the Pelicans because all I can think is how much better they would be if he was on the team, if he was actually in the game. Anyway, if you're not tuned in to the NBA playoffs, tune in because right now I feel like I'm watching the change of the guard. Also, shout out to the Deer. Shout out to the Deer. The Deer up there in Milwaukee are still doing their thing. I think they have a closeout game coming up. Giannis is one of my favorite players. Love Giannis. You know, we don't talk about them a lot because they're not, a sexy team. But Giannis is balling his brains out. Shout out to Philadelphia. Listen, if you are not tuned into the NBA playoffs, do yourself a favor and tune in. Do yourself a favor and tune in. If you haven't been watching, you probably won't see a lot of the names that you know, but get yourself familiar with these young cats because they are coming. Do you hear me? Coming. I think it's going to be very interesting because at this point, it's a toss-up. I don't know who's coming out of East. I don't know who's coming out of the West. The veteran team in the West at this point is the Golden State Warriors. Okay? You know, they would be considered old at this point because all of these young teams that are up and coming, they still have their core three. And they have Steph, they have Clay back, they have Draymond back, and they have this new Jordan Poole. I think his name is Jordan Poole. Young Jordan fits right in. So now he replaced KD, basically. So, you got three Lynn Slash brothers in Draymond. And they got a hell of a coach. So, anyway, get on these NBA playoffs if you are not already on them. They are fantastic. Somebody need to pay me for that. The NBA, y'all send this to them, tell them to pay that girl for saying that because ain't that slogan? Anyway, so yeah, I will see you guys on Friday. Of course, we'll be back up in this thing doing our live. Me and Boxiana, we will be back, Queens of the Ring, on Friday night, 9:30 Central Standard Time. If you have not already, click the like button, please. Thank you. Subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the bell icon if you haven't already. I try to upload these Humpday Wednesdays on every Wednesday. Sometimes I get sidetracked and I'll upload something on Thursday. Either way, we're going to always be here on Friday nights. So, I shall see you on Friday. Get your popcorn ready. We'll be discussing the Valdez and Shakur Stevenson weigh-in for their big fight on Saturday, okay? And I'll see you on Friday. Have a good day, y'all. Bye.